And when you say they have such a good vibe, that's actually short for vibration. Doesn't that sound so stupid once it comes out of my mouth? But it's true. They give off such a good vibe. That's short for vibration. Anyway, people are saying vibration now. Don't know why. Kind of like it, kind of don't. What's good, fam? It is your boy JJ in the studio today. We got a mini Mansode coming your way. Today's episode, I can't wait. I say this a lot and I genuinely mean it every single time. But if I go back in my time machine and strap little 20-year-old JJ to a chair, first of all, I'd love to just show him up and show him what a beast, I've become and strap that little scrawny guy to a chair and show him what a real man looks like. But number two, I would make him listen to an episode just like this. Hey man, my hot take and what I need you to listen to today is this. It should be totally okay and a great thing for you to date your friend. So this episode today is not just for you. It's also for you and your friend group. Like if you have a friend in your friend group, you should absolutely be one of the champions and ambassadors and one of those friends who's encouraging your friend to go out with their friends. Like I know how it works. I've been in lots of community groups as a young adult, as a later adult, as a single. Everyone's friends with everyone. And you always have that one friend who's interested in someone else or slightly interested, or you two see them like on the side of Bible study, getting along pretty well. You should absolutely pull them aside and say, hey, I couldn't help but notice you two are getting along so well. I've happened to know Hannah for years now. She is the best. Like I could not recommend her enough. So if you just needed a little nudge, a little push to ask her out, dude, I totally think you should do it. I listen to this great podcast called HOD Dating. They talk about this. Just when you ask out a friend, and what we can do at the end is talk about how you ask out a friend. But long story short, just make it as easy, low pressure as possible. Hey, Hannah, I'd love to take you out on a date. I've noticed over the X amount of time of getting to know you how amazing you are, how selfless you are. I just have really, really come to love spending time with you. I love to just simply take you out on a date and see where it goes. Absolutely no worries. If not, totally understand if you don't want to do that. The one thing I can promise is that if we do go out on a date and it doesn't work out, I promise I won't make it awkward. So even though that was an awkward finish right there, please forgive me. The whole point is when I ask out a girl, if I was a single guy, because I'm not doing it anymore, as a single guy, if I was to ask out a girl, you always just want to make it as low pressure as possible, give them a super easy out, and just, relieving the threat that if this doesn't work out, I'm going to awkwardly see you 3 Sundays from now. I'm going to make it really weird. It's going to just put this kind of stain on the friend group, and our small groups and game nights and everything will never be the same. That's basically what we want to mitigate. So I'm going to go ahead and pause there. We're going to go ahead and quickly knock out our 2 segments of what I'm loving and in my DMs. Dude, today, I'm telling you guys, thank me later. Someone just introduced me to Temu, which we obviously all saw their Super Bowl ads. Dude, Temu is awesome. Like, it is sick. I literally got a laser finder that's for golfing. I got some like golf training tools on there that are usually way more. I probably got about, if I went on Amazon and bought the exact same stuff I bought on Temu, I probably got about $400 worth of golf training tools and aids, a sick laser finder, and I got it for like $85. Is it going to take a couple weeks to get to me? Sure, but I'm in no rush. Temu is like, if you put Amazon and AliExpress, if you guys ever tried AliExpress, if you guys put those together and they had a baby, that would be Temu. It's like really great stuff. I think they just I don't know how they do it. They filter out a bunch of the junk. You can see all the ratings. They're actually good ratings. And man, I was like blown away. I'm a frugal guy. I like affordability. I don't like paying for brand names. And so for me to get all these training tools for so cheap, I was super pumped. I also, I mean, this is just if you golf, I bought a couple dozen golf balls. I think they have like a Pro V1 knockoff. It's like $12 for a dozen balls, which is absolutely insane. So I'll let you guys know what my review is, but I haven't tried any of the products except my brother's rangefinder, laser pointer. And it's been amazing. So yeah, at least on the front end, I'm loving Temu. We'll see on the back end, but so far so good. I'll keep you guys updated. In my DMs, the question this week, I really enjoyed seeing, okay? It's this one. Hey bro, so how would you recommend navigating when someone tells you they are interested, but just not ready right now? The past 2 girls I've talked to all said the same thing, that I just needed to wait a little while. So I did, but to be honest, it was kind of miserable because I eventually realized I was waiting for a relationship that never really happened. I think I ended up mourning those relationships that never really even happened. There's another girl now I know. She loves Jesus. We're great friends. Last night I asked her out, but she told me the same thing. I do think she's interested, but she got cheated on someone else recently, so I understand her not being able to be ready right now. First of all, my condolences, my brother. I think I'll be honest. I think sometimes when people say that, it's their way of gently letting you down, and it's not very authentic. It's, I'm not interested, and that's all I can say. Anytime we say something like, I'm not interested right now, but I might be in the future, I understand, and this is if you're letting someone down yourself or if you're receiving it, I understand the intention and the kindness to say, maybe later, somewhat, I'm open to it, but just not right now. It's not a good time. I think anytime we talk about the future like that, I just think we have to be really, really clear. The answer right now is no. And we just don't point to the future at all, just because we don't know. And if you genuinely know in this moment, I'm not interested and I'm probably not going to be in the future, don't allude to the future at all, okay? And if you do give an answer like, not right now, but please come back in 3 months, or let me come back to you in X amount of time, like give yourself a timeline that feels good, that feels comfortable, and revisit the subject if you're truly interested. So 2 things, be really clear that it's a no right now. And if it's a no, just be clear it's a no. Don't add any extra fluff. Don't lie. Don't be inauthentic. Just say, no, I would love to just be friends. And that's great with me. Okay. And then 2, if it really is like she just got cheated on and now's not a good time. Well, first of all, if you know that she just got cheated on, I would not be the first one to ask her out. Okay. I would wait. Maybe someone else asks her out. Maybe, like through your friends or through a bird, through talking to her like 3 months, 6 months later, hey, I would love to ask you out, but I know that you went through a breakup, a tough one. I know you got cheated on. So as soon as you feel like you're in a better place and healthy and ready, please let me know. And I'd love to take you out. We can have a wonderful time. I have an awesome fun date plan. And I'm in no rush over here. See, I love that. So you either communicate with them or you find out through their friends. I would say if you're consistently hearing that message, number one, just know sometimes it's just people's way of letting you down. And my big thing to end the question is this. If someone says no, I don't care what they say after that. We have to get over it. Like, we have to get over that person, especially if you worked up the courage to ask them out, to put yourself out there, and they say no. Hey, you shot your shot. I'm so proud of you. Way to go. It didn't work out, and that's totally fine. I'm more proud of you for the fact that you just simply asked them out on a date. And then as far as moving forward, they're a friend. They made that very, very clear for you. They are a friend and only a friend. I don't care what they said. I just think so many times we get stuck and waste, like you said, so much time mourning relationships that never even existed because we just had like an emotional infatuation and we're basically in a relationship with them for months. even though it was not a real relationship. Like, this is a very real thing. So absolutely, I would just say move along, move along, move along. If they're interested in you in a future date, they can come reach back out to you. Or I guess maybe you can ask again in a year. Like, I'm not against being like really persuasive and really adamant and really persistent is the word I'm looking for. But I just think in the interim, man, if you have any feelings for someone and it's ever confirmed that they're not interested in going on a date with you right now, it's just time to let it rest. Okay, give it away, as the Red Hot Chili Peppers would say. Okay, into the episode today. Let's go. So, dating your friend. That's my hot take. I fully stand by this. This would be probably a top 3 heart of dating rule, encouragement, guidance. Like, if number 1 is be content in singleness, number 2 is leave them better than you found them. Number 3, I would probably say is this: date your friend. Like, date the people who are already around you. Alec Bevere had one of the best stories and anecdotes I've ever heard regarding this. He talks about a farmer in South Africa who sold his whole property in search of diamonds across the world. He goes throughout the whole entire world. He goes bankrupt, searching for someplace exotic, someplace crazy, someplace new and fresh, and then comes back, and years later, apparently this is a true story, years later comes back and finds out that the man he sold his farm to is sitting on the largest deposit of natural diamonds on planet Earth. So the anecdote there is, hey, you don't have to go looking very far to find amazing, eligible, awesome diamonds. They're right there in your backyard. You don't have to go to the church next door. You don't have to go to the state next door. And that is coming from someone who is absolutely 100% long distance. Like, we are so pro long distance at Heart of Dating. But I think a lot of times we've written off the people around us in our friend group when we really should not have, for just kind of funny reasons. Like, I don't really like her nose, or we've been friends for so long, like, there's just all these different excuses. So first of all, let's just start here. When it comes to dating your friend, like, you guys have been friends for a while, and then you actually end up dating and then getting into a relationship. This happens all the time. People start out as friends. There's no romantic capacity at all. There's no enthrallment. There's no spark. There's no hot, heavy, fast, lightning feeling. There's no anything. They're not each other's type. And then guess what? Fast forward 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years, and guess what happens? They start having a crush. They start to kind of like and get nervous. They see another aspect and deeper layer of their personality and their character. And then all of a sudden, they look at their friend and say, I think I'm developing feelings for them. Am I going crazy? No, I think this is how it should go. I think if you are a single adult and you hang out with opposite sex Christian singles who are also in your age range, this should happen. This should be the most normal, encouraged thing in Christian community. I just, before I go to the scientific aspect of it, just think about it. If I had a group of 100 singles, 50 of them are men, 50 of them are women, they're serving alongside of each other, they're doing co-ed Bible studies together, they're serving in kids' church, they're hanging out on Friday nights, they're doing homemade proms on their back porch together for fun, they're doing Valentine's with each other and serving each other, they are picking each other up from the airport, they're helping each other move on Saturday mornings, like they're just doing everything together. And they do that for 3 months. They do that for a year. They do it for 2, 3, 5 years. It's a really healthy group. Man, I would hope and pray after that much time together that the majority of them have found at least one in the other group who they have become physically attracted to, but more importantly, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually attracted to, and they have something called friendship on fire, which is all marriage really is. I would say, like, of the couples we see at Heart of Dating, what I love is this. 1 week we get an email from someone who's in the UK. They're in London. They met their match on Facebook, hearted dating. The match is in Israel, and they get along well. They start doing long distance. They get engaged and they get married. Man, that is amazing. That is a crazy, awesome story. And I hope just as much in that same week, we get an email for someone saying, hey, I was friends with this guy in my community group for 3 years. I never really thought much of him, but after listening to Hearted Dating, I started giving him a chance. And all of a sudden, I found myself falling in love with his character, his personality, his emotional and intellectual health and intelligence. And now we're getting married this week. For me, I would say that second story is probably going to be and should be maybe 70, 80% of the time. Why? Because you guys are working off a really great foundation. Now, with Kate and I's story, and I think about this all the time, you see, when you start out with no friendship first, you guys are only romantic partners up front. You guys are kind of building two things at once. You're building a friendship simultaneously while you're building like a romantic relationship. And for me, I just think that can be tough. I think people so prioritize the romantic aspect of it and only look at the romantic aspect, they quickly forget that I have to spend the rest of my life with this person, and they really don't evaluate whether or not they have a friendship or not. Like, do I actually just kind of enjoy this person doing mundane, everyday stuff? They get so convoluted and fixated, looking for the spark, looking for that emotional, just lightning. And the new word I've been hearing is vibration. I finished my day with this person, I was like vibrating, after like they left me in just such great vibes. And which, by the way, I also thought about this, and when you say they have such a good vibe, that's actually short for vibration. Doesn't that sound so stupid once it comes out of my mouth? But it's true. They give off such a good vibe. That's short for vibration. Anyway, people are saying vibration now. Don't know why. Kind of like it, kind of don't. But anyway, like, I hope in that group of 50 men and 50 women, like a majority of them are getting married at the end of the day. Like, they are, after a year or 2 or 3, getting along so well that they actually start to romantically develop feelings for each other. And they start to go out on dates and they start to get in relationships and get married. Because this is actually what the science says too. Like, guess what? I love that this is the aspect and the hypothesis of hearted dating, and what we really encourage and what we really see do really well in young adult communities, because, the scientific studies show the exact same thing. There was one classic study that found that people who live close to each other in student housing were not just likely to become friends, but the same principle applied to romantic relationships. They simply had this. They had increased opportunities for social interaction, which led to higher chances of romantic attraction once they got to know each other on a personal level. Yes, that makes total sense. One study found that familiarity through repeated interactions increased romantic interest, especially when initial attraction was simply moderate. I love that. So basically, initial attraction was not through the roof. They were not fixated. They were not obsessed. They did not say, this is the most beautiful, gorgeous girl I've ever seen in my life. They said initial attraction was moderate. And then guess what? Repeated interactions simply increased romantic interest as they got to know one another. Those two studies say the exact same thing. Repeated interactions, more opportunities for interaction as they get to know each other on a personal level, led to romantic interest and feelings with one another. Isn't that crazy? And it's not just in person. Check this out. There was another study done showing that online and long distance relationships have even shown that same virtual proximity. You think about the dorms and the co-ed dorms, they have physical proximity. They say it's actually the same thing for virtual proximity. Frequent communication and even virtual proximity, meaning you guys are seeing each other or talking to each other virtually, can even foster romantic feelings as well. All it really comes down to is regular interaction, even if it's not in person, can create a sense of closeness, intimacy, and romantic interest into someone else. That is crazy. Those are all basically saying the more you kind of hang out with someone and there is just simply moderate physical attraction, the more likely you can and frequently do become romantically interested in somebody. That's crazy. I think about dating in a lot of ways like this. And once you see it like this, it really does change how you see friends. I have had a friend who before, he is like very pragmatic in what he calls dating and what he calls relationships and what he calls, engagement and marriage. Like he's very, very, very careful on what he is calling someone. He also had a tendency to hang out with girls one-on-one, not so much in a player aspect. Like he was just simply, he got along really well with men and he got along really well with women. He grew up with a lot of sisters growing up. He was just a really great friend to women. And so what would happen over time was he just simply found himself becoming really great friends with women, and they would sometimes hang out one-on-one or in group settings. They would just tend to kind of, sit together, talk together, joke together, have fun together. And, and then I would ask him, and his friends would ask him, hey, why don't you just go on a date with so-and-so? Like, why don't you? No. I could never date her. One time I asked him, I said, what do you mean you can never date her? What do you think you guys have been doing for the past 3 months? And he just stopped and he looked at me. I'm like, you guys have basically been dating. Like if you asked her out on a date and you guys started going on dates, what would be the difference from what you were just doing to what you would be doing? And he thought about it and he said, not really anything. There would just be more pressure, honestly. Like there would be more romantic pressure, but there's not really a huge difference, I guess, when you think about it like that. I'm like, dude, exactly. Like in a lot of ways, dates are, yeah, sure. Like, there's that romantic pressure. But why do we go on dates in the first place? Like dating should really just look like this. Just think about dating without that romantic pressure and stick with me. You guys are just simply enjoying each other's company. You guys are talking to one another. You guys are exchanging thoughts. You guys are getting curious about each other's stories, how things at work are going, what's going on in their life. You guys are eating together. You guys are going to events together, like, small group, game nights. You guys are going to concerts together. Like you guys are just kind of hanging out and cause you're just enjoying one another. And then when we introduce dating, you guys are kind of doing the same thing. You guys are intentionally hanging out one-on-one more with each other. You guys are just simply getting to know each other more, like through a romantic lens. And my favorite thing about dating your friend is, especially if you guys have been hanging out in group settings or smaller group settings with 2 or 3 people, or occasionally hanging out one-on-one, like if you guys have been hanging out one-on-one, I have a newsflash for you. You guys have been dating in a lot of ways. You guys have just not mentally added the pressure and the conscious level that you are evaluating them as a person that you might want to be in a relationship with. But guess what? I guarantee you, if they're the opposite sex, you subconsciously have been thinking about it a lot. That's my hot take and theory about dating your friend is you guys have already kind of mentally been dating each other subconsciously for quite a while and saying to yourself, I really enjoyed this person. I want to hang out with them more. I really love my friendship with them. I really like spending time with them. That's what dating is anyway. You guys have basically already been dating. And so now the idea of calling it a date and going on a few dates, if that introduces a ton of pressure and you guys both freak out, well, I would just say you guys need to visit, why are you putting so much pressure when the word date is slapped onto what you guys have already been doing? You guys are simply evaluating each other for a relationship as you guys spend time together and build out a friendship. That's really what dating is in its most pure form. Evaluating and growing a friendship and relationship together. So as I think about dating your friend, I just think there are so many pros to dating someone you already know. And I just said it. The first pro for dating your friend is you already know them. You already know their character. You already know their strengths. You already know their weaknesses. Before you even go out on that date, you can vouch for them and say, this is a great woman. I am so lucky. I'm so fortunate to be going out on a date with her. Like, she's got amazing character. That's one of the challenges of modern day dating is you really don't know the person you are going out on a date with. You don't know if they're secretly a serial killer. You don't really, know if they secretly have something going on, or if they're a lukewarm Christian or someone who just proclaims to know Christ but really doesn't. My favorite part about dating someone who's already your friend, who you've been around for months and months, maybe even years, is you already know them. You already know their friends, the crowd that they're hanging out with, their reputation, but most importantly, you know their character. My second favorite pro for why you should date a friend is this: you're already comfortable and authentic around them. Like, this is one of the biggest challenges of dating today is people get so in their head and they're so concerned with marketing and selling themselves. They're showing up on their first, second, fifth, 10th date with someone, and they feel like they're auditioning for the role of boyfriend or girlfriend. They just feel like they're constantly performing around someone. They can't show any weaknesses. They can't be vulnerable. They can't show them any reason for why they should say no or walk away. My favorite reason for dating your friend is ideally you're already super comfortable and authentically yourself. You're not trying to be anybody else except for yourself. This is the best part of it because they've already seen the best of you. Hopefully, honestly, they've seen the worst of you. They've seen maybe you on not your best days, and they are saying, I still would love to go on a date with you. What better foundation could you ask for marriage than that? I've seen you at your best. I've seen you at your worst. And yes, I would still love to go out on a date with you. Ooh, I love that. Man, I love that. Number 3, my favorite pro for why I love dating your friend is you already have a friendship with them. Like, you have that awesome foundation. As Tim Keller says, and as we say all the time, marriage is just simply friendship on fire. You guys have the friendship down pat. Now it's just time to introduce, quote, a little bit of fire, which even then I would just say is a little overrated. And that just comes with time. Like, as you guys evaluate each other for relationship and marriage, I guarantee you that, quote, fire starts to stir and awaken, just like Song of Solomon says, and it is going to be the least of your problems, especially if you guys have a deep, rich, emotionally healthy friendship first. The 4th reason why I love dating your friend, and this one's so good, it's so underrated, is friends genuinely care about each other. So when you're going into the dating process, you are already going into the situation, your first date, third date, future breakup, future relationship, like it's going to end in marriage or it's going to end in a breakup. But guess what? You are entering into that process of dating already with someone who deeply cares about you. And hopefully, as a true friend, they care about you more than they care about themselves. They care to serve you, to honor you, to love you, more than they care to serve, love, and honor themselves, which I love. That means from the first date to maybe if they break up with you or how they ask you out in a relationship, like, you are going into this with someone who just genuinely cares about your heart, your soul, your feelings, and your emotions. I think that's one of the biggest challenges of today's dating scene is you're going out with strangers who just genuinely don't really care about you. And that can be a really hurtful process sometimes, from the way that they ghost you, from the way that they break up with you, from the way that they disrespect you, the way that they just simply don't really treat you like a human being. And yeah, that happens. That's part of the pain and challenge of dating is you have people treating each other like they don't really matter. Whether that comes to boundaries, whether that comes to the breakups, whether it comes to the arguments, the conflicts, like whatever part you want to talk about, the biggest challenge and crime and sin and hurt of dating all stems from the fact that you have people made in God's image not really being treated and honored and cared for like they are a human being made in God's image. So what better process to go into dating with than with someone who already deeply cares about you as a friend? Like, I just can't think of anything better. And then lastly, my last pro and my last favorite reason for why you should date your friend is this. Like, it's so funny when we add the word date, we just get so tense and we add so much pressure. When you think about it like this, there's actually less pressure when you date your friend than anybody else. Well, all of a sudden it sounds like kind of like the best thing ever, because you guys are just simply doing exactly what you were doing, just with a romantic lens. Like seriously, if you guys are pickleball buddies and you guys have been friends for quite some time and you are asking them out on a date, you guys should still be playing pickleball together. Okay, maybe after pickleball, you guys are just getting ice cream together one-on-one and hanging out. Like, if you guys love hanging out with friends and having game night together, keep doing that together. And then maybe before or after, you go get ice cream together. Like, I can't tell you how much pressure, like, we put on this. Would you want to, like, you don't have to put on the tuxedo. You don't have to take them to a 5-star dinner and look at them in their eyes and engage their soul just because you ask them out on a date. Keep doing exactly what you've been doing. Just find a little bit more time to intentionally pursue them on top of that or on the side of that. Like, just find some one-on-one time together. Go on a walk together. Like, after church, go get some food together. Talk about the sermon. Like, my favorite thing about dating your friend is there can actually be way less pressure. You're just simply getting to know them intentionally a little bit more one-on-one than what you were currently doing. And I love that. Like, man, I just genuinely love that. So please use this as your sign. If this is you listening to this and there's that friend in your friend group, dude, just shoot your shot, man. If this is that girl, like, drop the hanky, like, be bold, find a way to get it done. Because here's the only con if it doesn't work out. Are you ready? The only con, if it doesn't work out when you date your friend, is you lose the friendship. And guess what? That only happens if you are dating like a fool. If you date like a fool, you will lose the friendship. If you are making out with them, if you are crossing boundaries, if you guys are hanging out at 11:30 on a Friday night and it's only you guys and Netflix is on, like, I'm sorry, you guys will lose the friendship if you date a friend, if you date like fools. And that is like a word of caution. If you know that you don't have a great dating pattern and you want to date a friend, please don't do it, because you will not end up doing it well. Now, if you want to try new, if you want to say, you know what, I do want to date well, I want to recommit to dating well, I want to try it with a friend, and here's what I'm going to do about it. Here's the structure I'm going to implement. Who's here? I'm going to involve these friends. I'm going to involve this mentor. Like, I'm really going to start this out with baby steps because I really want to do dating right, because I deeply care about this person and I don't want to hurt them. Well, then date your friend. What a great opportunity to start out with baby steps, put on those training wheels, try a new way to date that glorifies God, that leaves them better than you found them. But yes, I totally genuinely believe in this theory of dating, that you can be in a friend group, know someone for a year, 2 years, go on 4 dates with them, see them that Sunday a month later, and then not be awkward. Call me crazy, but I genuinely believe if you are dating in a way that honors Jesus, that honors that other person, that honors yourself, that leaves them better than you found them, you can absolutely do that and it not be the most awkward, cringy thing when you see them a month later. And I don't know, maybe it's just my personal experience, but I rarely have seen people date really well in an awesome way, and just because it doesn't work out, they can't genuinely be friends. Like, something has to be genuinely wrong with one or both of the people. Someone maybe got way ahead of themselves. Like, I can think of a lot of reasons how it could probably go haywire, but if both people are approaching the dating scene with a healthy, great foundation, they know that this can work out in marriage or a breakup, and it's only those two options, man, I totally think that dating can look like that. So that's my hot take today. Please date your friend. Please encourage your friend to date their friends. Like, give it a try. There's nothing but pros if you do it well, except if you can't do it well, then don't date your friend, because you will ruin the friendship. Did that make sense? I hope so. Have a great day. Love you guys. Blessings to you all.